All right, all right. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Coffee Q&A, your daily dose of Coffee Q&A here on the Onocoffee channel. I'm Jay, your host, and good to see all of you. How's it going? Hope you're doing well. We're here today. It is almost Christmas time, and as you can see, I've got this hat, this Krispy Kreme Eat Donuts hat. They give these away, like Burger King. Here in the United States, Burger King gives away crowns to kids, and you know what? I thought this, and I was like, oh, look at this. They have it even has the sizes. Pull out to your head size, so you can open it up. I think I'm 7.5, because I got a big head. That's what my girlfriend says, a big head. And then, front, it says front. Okay, so front, let's put it on now. Well, it's like a Christmas crown. So how's it going? Hope you're doing well. If you just joined us for the very first time, this is the Coffee Q&A, our daily dose of coffee Q&A here on the Onocoffee channel, where we broadcast live stream most Monday through Fridays, weekdays, 10 a.m. Eastern time. So hope that you're here. Good to see you. We're having our Christmas week of videos. Coffee comes with this. Good morning to you. Andrew, good morning. Kent, hello. How's it going? Hope you're doing well. So today, it's going to be, for me, it's a very relatively easy episode because in some respects, I don't have to do anything. I kind of engineered it that way, right? So last week I was sitting around and I was, on Facebook and on the stream, it gives you all this stuff. And suddenly I see this thing, Peanuts and Krispy Kreme. Charlie Brown Peanuts, Charlie Brown, Snoopy, Linus Van Pelt, Lucy Van Pelt, Sally and all of the crew. They're like, oh, they're making donuts with peanuts. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And I looked at the pictures and I was like, oh, that looks awesome. So you could order online. So I ordered one. Now, the problem is Krispy Kreme no longer is the juggernaut that it once used to be, meaning that when I first started doing business in 1999, we opened our first location with J.J. Vice. We were next door to the then brand new Krispy Kreme. Krispy Kreme started as a donut shop in the Carolinas with these like sugary, light, airy, fluffy fried donuts with a glaze that you could go in and buy en masse because they were making them in the stores. They still make them in the stores. And if you were there at the right moment, they had a sign that says hot donuts now, and you could get glazed hot donuts as they were coming out of the fryer. Or as they're coming out of the fryer, but coming out of the sheeter, which is the thing that puts a sheet of glaze across them. And since we were next door neighbors with these guys, I got to know the manager very, very well. And he would come over and be like, hey, here's some donuts for you and your team. And he'd bring like 2-3 dozen donuts. I was like, my God, that's craziness. So for a couple of years, for maybe like 3 years, we had like nonstop Krispy Kreme. It was out of control. Like just ridiculous amounts of Krispy Kreme. And then, but back then, Krispy Kreme was making a very large push for franchise expansion across the United States. They expanded too fast. They grew too fast, and then eventually they had to contract. And now they've contracted. So where they used to have a lot of locations around the Baltimore area, now they only have a few. Where I used to be able to go 10 minutes to the nearest Krispy Kreme, now I have to go 20. So it's a bit further away. But I saw this online. I thought, this would be a great episode for the Coffee Q&A. So I ordered a batch, and I had to go pick it up this morning, and here it is. Naomi's with us. Good morning to you. Coffee Cup says, a lot of Krispy Kreme places closed. Yeah, they were like huge for a minute, but they've really just expanded too much, and so they had to contract. Mom, good morning to you as well. Mom, I had to go to get this donuts here. I know this may not be. Is this halal? I don't think it is, right? Oh, no. There's dairy. Dairy is halal, right? Dairy is halal. So as you can see here, I've got the bag, Krispy Kreme, and it comes in this box that is no good. It's actually pretty nice. Like I'm really like, ooh, like I saw this on the ads, and I was like, okay, I gotta go get that. That I gotta have. So we've got our Krispy Kreme donuts, the Peanuts Christmas collection. So kind of cool. I'm gonna get a snap of this. I've been using this whole portrait thing on the iPhone lately, and I'm kind of enjoying. A lot of the thumbnails are now shot with that portrait mode. All right, so we've got our Christmas collection here, and this is a dozen donuts. You know, Krispy Kreme was the one that like made these flat box donuts, you know, or donut flat boxes. When I was growing up here in Baltimore, we would have Dunkin' Donuts, and Dunkin's has the one where you stack them. So you get 3 rows of 4. Now we have 3 rows of 4, I guess, or 4 rows of 3, or something like that. And they're flat, which is kind of a nice for presentation because now you can just kind of hold it up, right? Open it up and be like to your friends, be like, So, we should do that. And they put a little bit of a tape here, which is a paper tape, which should be easier to open than the plastic tape that bakers use. Gosh, bakeries, I don't know how it is where you guys are, especially in different parts of the world, but here in the United States, I think there is a conspiracy amongst bakers to have this tape that is just impossible to remove. Let's get her a knife. I probably shouldn't be using this knife. This is a knife I'm making for a gift. I made it for a gift for, I have a party to go to on Christmas Eve, and we have a giveaway, you know, like a Secret Santa, not Secret Santa, but, you know, what I call Chris Criminal. We have a Chris Criminal program where we, each of us gives like one gift that's worth at least $75. And you put it in a box, you wrap it, and you put it into a pile, and then you draw. But unlike friendlier gift exchanges, this one is, I like it to be like super dirty and cutthroat, right? Like you get nice quality gifts, and they're stealing, and you can't steal immediately from when you've been stolen from. Like you can't steal it back and forth. So you won't get stuck in this loop of stealing. But there is no limits on the stealing per gift. So if it comes back around to you somehow, you can steal it back. You just can't steal it back immediately. Some of my friends like to balk at those rules, but I'm like, you know what? It just makes there are some then some complain. They're like, oh, it takes too long. Whatever, man. Like, where are you going on Christmas Eve? Otherwise, we're here, right? All right. So that's like I said. So these nice boxes, hold it up so you can just be like, ah. Right. So, ooh, look at that. Let's put this down. Oh, they give us. Let's see what we got. Let's see what we got. Aloha to you, Keone. How are you doing? And Keone says there are a lot of Krispy Kreme stores here in Cronetown. Oh, nice. Do they have the peanuts? Oh, you know what? It doesn't look. Does this look as nice as the ad? Let's see. Oh yeah, see, look at that. That's disappointing. Like we've got 3 of these, 2 of these, 3 of these, two. One's crushed. Look at that. And then look at what we're like. This is what they advertise: wreaths. And I think they had some wreaths there. Like, that's disappointing. Right? Like, look at that. And then look at this. Look at that. And look at this. It's like, what more? Like, this looks cool. This looks really exciting. This does not look as exciting. These are the vagaries of. Like, I wanted the wreath one. I mean, I guess to a certain extent, you could think about it this way, right? Like, this is all the same dough, essentially. So the doughs don't really change. So the flavor experience may not necessarily change very much, but I wanted the wreath. I wanted at least a wreath. Probably should have had a look at it before I left. Anyway, we've got, we've got, of course, Charlie Brown, Snoopy, Santa Belly, Christmassy, blah, 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 blah. Chocolate frosted, glaze with chocolate frosting. And then now we have these 2, which is regular. This is regular glazed. See, this is the regular glaze. It looks kind of nice. It's the bait and switch, Naomi. You know, bait and switch. Comico says, Oh, two Snappy, two Snoopy, three Charlie Browns, and don't know what those brown ones with the belt are. Yeah, these are supposed to be Santa's belt. So probably raspberry, maybe licorice. Maybe it looks kind of like a no, just a sugar. I was gonna say maybe it's licorice, and then like a sugar candy belt buckle, and then some cream filled. And look at the crush. Look at this is past the muster. Like, how does Snoopy look? Let's look at Snoopy. Does that look like Snoopy to you? Or should have Snoopy been made this way? Oh, it's a heart. It's a heart. Oh, that's cute. I guess that's cute. It's cute. It's cute overall. A little bit disappointing. A little bit disappointing. All right, so I guess the whole thing, we should try it out. Gary says, the one thing I noticed here is that the restaurants, if they have pictures of the food offered, really try and replicate the picture with each order. That's not America. I remember one time I was, you like it was an early trip to Germany, like in the late 2000s, right? I was it was in Frankfurt. Actually, I was at Frankfurt Airport, and I was taking the train into the city because I had just come back from Africa. I was staying overnight in the city. Went down to the train station. I was hungry. Went down to the train station, and if you're ever familiar with Frankfurt Airport, the Bahnhof which is the train station, is down below this airport. So you got to go down this escalator or elevator into this subterranean mall, and there's a McDonald's down there. And I was like, oh man, I haven't had McDonald's in like 2-3 weeks. So I went in, ordered a burger, a Big Mac, and darn if it wasn't one of the best Big Macs I'd ever had anywhere. Like, it was like well put together. The iceberg lettuce was crispy and cold. The patty was hot. Everything was as though you looked at it in a magazine. You're like, what? And here in America, nobody cares here. It's terrible. It's terrible. All right, let's try. Well, before we try, we're going to get some coffee. And there was something that I was kind of concerned about. I was thinking, well, how much coffee should I buy? Maybe I should buy the ground coffee and make it, or the coffee beans and make it here. They only serve pre-ground coffee, so I was like, forget it. So I bought the large, which is like $2.99. This is a 20-ounce cup, and I was like, I need to preserve it because I picked it up at like 8:30 in the morning. So I brought my Tough Slim, and I tell you what, I poured almost the entirety of this cup into this Tough Slim, and I was like, wait a minute, I thought this is like 12 ounces. Now, I did just check before we went on air, and turns out it's supposed to be like roughly 17 ounces. So 17 ounces, 20 ounces, there's maybe 2-3 ounces left. So, okay, maybe that's all right. But I was just like, what in the world? And I remember hearing about people talking about how cup sizes may be different sizes, but it's actually the same volume. And you're like, what? And I'm wondering if this is the case. So, for example, here is the picture that I took while I was at the store. So this is full, right? I poured it all into there, and you can see there's just a little bit left. Right? Look how little there is now. Look how little there is left, right? So it's all full to the top there, and just a little bit left there. Oops. I did buy some donuts there to eat. I bought 2 glazed because, I had to have a little pre-gaming. Mom says some McDonald's sells Krispy Kreme now. Ooh, that's nice. One of the things about Krispy Kreme, though, and maybe it's because I had this experience where we ate too much Krispy Kreme in a relatively short amount of time, is that I don't really like them when they're cold, like later in the day. Like, you see them at 7-Eleven or other places like that, or Royal Farms, I think, sells them, or something like that. And you can buy them there, and when they're fresh, hot, like the one that you saw in the picture that I had just gotten, I bought that at the location. It was still nice and warm. Like, the guy had just pulled it off the line, put it in a bag, and I took it in the car and I ate in the car. That's when they're really nice. When they're cool, especially hours later, they're not as great. But I digress. But so I'm curious to know how much volume is actually in here. So I even asked them, hey, can you give me a small cup? So I got a small cup, 12-ounce cup versus the 20-ounce. Now, I just want to check because, I'm curious. It says it might be 20-ounce capacity cup. This, I got to be honest, when I took the lid off, it was, okay, maybe it was definitely not to the rim, but it was filled to a point where I was not questioning the volume that they put in there, right? Does that mean it was 20? Maybe not, but it was high enough so you're like, okay, that seems like a reasonable amount of coffee for a large, technically 20-ounce cup. So let's weigh this out and see what they say. Well, how do we get zero? Okay, I'm just going to take some water, and I'm just going to put some regular water in here and fill it up. Oh. So I filled up pretty far, right? Like, look at this. I filled up pretty far. How many ounces? Oh. If I press that tears it, right? Oh. Okay, 9.52 ounces. Okay. So 19.52 ounces. All right, so it's 20 ounces. Let's tear that out. Now let's see how much of this holds. Okay. Fair enough. Okay, I was concerned that there was going to be some kind of like issue, but there really is. These are legit cup sizes. All right. I just thought this was, So we're not going to use this because that's just too big. That's why I got this one. Espresso and Bikes is with us. What's going on, man? How are you doing? We all know calories consumed while standing and while in the airport don't count. Absolutely. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm thinking we add calories consumed on the live stream. Don't. I think you're right with that. I do appreciate that. But, just to be clear, I'm not intending to eat all of these donuts by myself. Right? I do have family around that I will be letting them have the rest of this. And, yeah, this is just, it just looks nicer this way. If I bought only like one of each of these, right? If I only bought one, and then maybe the other one, the wreath one, it'd be kind of like, right? So now we have something that's like, and then if I give it to people, they'll think that I'm much more generous than I really am. Like, it's like, no, I'm not that generous. I'm just giving to because I had leftovers from my live stream. All right, so which is the first one? Should we start with classic? Despite the fact that I've already had a classic this morning, but we could go again. I mean, it's not like you need to convince me. Did I bring a cutting board? I did not bring a cutting board. What? There's certain things that I never remember to bring back from the kitchen. Oh, I do have a cutting board here. Okay. You always want to keep a nice cutting board at your bar. And this is just a synthetic board. If you're just doing things like, well, for most cutting, synthetic is fine. I never worry too much about the synthetic. Okay, so let's start off with the classic because let's first start off with the coffee. We need to have the coffee. So the Zojirushi Tough Slim. They still make these, by the way. You should buy one. They're really great. I really like them. And as you know, I've used them mainly lately for just holding hot water, but I thought this would be a great way to hold the coffee while I transport it. And it's got the little lid here that you click, and it opens that spout, right? And then we just pour it in. Now I'm going to pour just a little bit so that I can close this, right? The little lever. I'm going to close that, and then I'm going to keep the coffee here, and just to preserve the heat, I'm going to put the lid on it. Here's something that I'm always like on our baristas about. So with the paper cup, there's a seam, right? There's a seam. You can see the seam here. I'm really a stickler for putting your spout, the spout of your lid, opposite of so if this is the seam here, right? seam is here. I want this to be completely opposite of the seam. And then if we're using these, right, the seam here also goes along with the seam of the cup. And why? Because that means that we're aligned here for the logo, so that as your guest is drinking your coffee, they see your logo. It's always in the mind. But also it has this here. And also the other thing is that in the old days of cups, there was always the chance that the seal would like fail and you would have dripping. By putting the spout opposite of that and training yourself to do that, or we would train our baristas to do that, they would just do it. After a while, you did it so much that you just never thought about it anymore. But by doing that, it made sure that there's, the rate of failure for seams today is very low. But in case you have that one cup, that customer doesn't matter whether there's, out of 50 million cups, there's one failure. If they're the failure, that's upsetting. So we always train the baristas to do it this way, so that it would at least do everything we could to prevent that from happening. So let's see the coffee and see what the Krispy Kreme brewed coffee is like. Dark? Is it dark? I don't know if it looks dark. It has it just kind of has a neutral kind of coffee smell. Maybe a slight tinginess to the nose. Oh, yeah, a little bit dirty. Not very sweet. Ooh. Maybe a little bit baggy too, dry. The palate is dry on the finish. Okay, not the greatest coffee, right? But perhaps the way to think about this coffee is you're not necessarily going to have the greatest coffee with the donuts, but the coffee should not interfere, or at least complement or contrast slightly with the donut. It should go together well, and perhaps that will happen. So let's put the lid back on so I can preserve it. Let's get our original glaze. So raised donuts, yeasted raised donuts, fried in oil. So it goes in like this, fries, and they push it along, and then eventually there's a flipper that flips it over, and it fries the bottom part, continues on, and then as it comes out of this like conveyor belt on an angle, right? And then there's a sheeter. The sheeter basically has this cascading fountain, thin stream of fountain of glaze, and like that, and then it comes out, and then you'll see them pick with like straws. They'll use the straw, hook it, and they'll let it cool for a second, and then you can eat it. Man, if you can get the Krispy Kreme like that, straight from the fryer, man, it's so good. Maybe one day we're going to do a video about that, another live stream. So another thing to consider is that here's something, and we'll do a demo on this one day. I was thinking about this on the way back. If you ever have to go to a Krispy Kreme donut eating contest, or maybe even any donut eating contest, here's the strategy. The guys taught me this many years. You take your donuts, right? And then you stack them. So most people eat them, right? They eat them like this. But if you stack them, like 6 of them, and then you mash them together, and then you can, because they're very airy, right? They're very light and fluffy, so they'll compress. We actually used to make donut consomme from this. It's a long process, but it was actually kind of fun. All right, let us look here. We're going to take this. We're going to cut it out. Zoom in a little bit more. Get a little bit closer to the donut. Proplan says the Krispy Kreme glaze is kind of unique. Oh, I think you're right. Naomi says, if you only had shown the 2 Snoopy heads, it would have been enough for me. Very cute. I know, it's super cute. It's super. But there was a couple other nice things that I wish they had included. Crazy Dancer, that's Krispy Kreme at Gatwick Airport. £5 per donut. Good God. £5. It's crazy. That's craziness. Oh man, Snoopy, we get boring snowman. Oh, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. You know, they probably it's a license. I'm sure it's a licensing thing, right? They have to probably pay so much per the license here. They probably didn't do the licensing outside America. Sorry, it's a good reason to come here and buy some. If you come and bring Festool that we don't have in the United States, I will exchange donuts with you. Curious says they did a comparison between portable drink containers and the Zojirushi was the best by far. Hydro Flask was, oh man. You know, speaking of which, I have those Festool cups, mugs. They're okay. They're not Festool level. It's very disappointing. Paige, hey, how's it going? Good to see you, Paige. Proplan says Zojirushi and Tiger are definitely the best thermal mugs on the market. Yeah, I agree. I love Zojirushi. Thermal mugs. Like we use the heaters. We'll use the heaters for water, or like even just their air pots. Man, awesome. Rice cookers, awesome. And actually, Zochi and Tiger are also very good for us. But the one that rice cooker I've really been lusting after for like the last 8, 9, 10 years is that Panasonic 5-layer. Panasonic makes this like 5-layer cladded pot for that one model. I guess it's their top of the, or it was top of the line for many years. It was like $500. I was like, oh, I should buy that. Paraplant says, I think a sheeter is for, yes, the sheeter is, the technical term for sheeter is for laminated dough, where you take your dough, take your butter, you layer them, and then you push them through the machine, and it's rollers that flatten them. But, you know, a sheet of cascading glaze, we'll call that today. Is the yellow one Woodstock? No, the yellow one is actually supposed to be Charlie Brown. Right, Charlie Brown. Remember the shirt? I don't know why there's a lock, though. Well, maybe it could be. Yeah, no. Woodstock wouldn't have this, right? Yeah, the lock. I don't understand that. I don't understand. Maybe one of you guys might know. Yeah, Charlie Brown sweater, says Keone. Paige said, he got the horror. But Paige says, I think we might have just watched the same video. Oh, on the sheeting. It's a bulb. It's a bulb? That's a bulb. Paige says, in terms of that video, I have a Starbucks cup made exactly like the Stanley and hate the lid. It cannot be taken apart. Huh. I wonder. Oh, that one. I'm not sure what video. What video you guys talk about? Is it by Technologies Connections guy? Because I like him. All right, let's have a look at this. We're going to cut this open. This is, so you can see the glaze is breaking, and my knife is probably not sharp enough. What? Maybe I need to poke it. Here's the problem. So it's theoretically a problem. But once it gets once this gets cool, the glaze, it does flake off a lot. So my vest that I was wearing this morning is actually covered with, or embedded now with, flaking glaze. All right, so let's have a look here. Let's have a look at the crumb. The crumb is nice and airy, very white, almost like a very angel food looking kind of dough. So very vanilla, very sugary, light, airy, nice flavors, very pleasant, very sweet. Now we're gonna add up. Probably do it. When I was in my 20s and 30s, I could eat the dozen, right? And probably feel fairly all right. Now, if I was to do that, I'd probably feel pretty bad. All right, let's have a look here now. We're going to go to our. This is the little glazed, standard glazed, but with chocolate frosting and sprinkles. God, that's terribly cute, actually. So we're not going to expect much difference. The only difference we're going to have is the glaze of. Well, that cut better. See, relatively the same crumb, because it should be the same. If you want to add more sugar, that's the way to go. All right, this lid sucks. Oh, I just gotta push it all the way back. Like this. It's all like it was all like poking into my upper lip. Oh, but one nice thing is that this has a huge port, which makes it kind of easy to drink from. Here he says, I looked it up. It's a Charlie Brown ornament donut. Oh, but so does that mean? Well, but I don't understand. Does that mean that the like it's supposed to hang? Is that the idea, or is that an order? I mean, I get the idea. Oh, so it's also. So here it is, the Charlie Brown. So Charlie Brown, I'm guessing lemon, maybe lemon, with this ornament, and then chocolate filled, chocolate cream filled. So, well, let's eat the ornament. Let's see. There's the glazing. There's the filling. The filling is there. Parplan says, Mr. Donuts is my favorite donut maker. Pondering is my favorite. It is comprised of several donut holes in a ring formation. Ooh. The dough is made with rice flour. You know, we don't have, I haven't seen a Mr. Donut here in such a long time. Like in Asia, there's in the Philippines, they always talk about Jco. I don't think I've had Jco. Like there's a bunch of donut places. But honestly, when I'm traveling, like in Manila, like even though I might be there for like 3 weeks, donuts is not high on my list. Like I got other food that I want to eat in almost any country, man. So I don't know. I have to give that a try. You know, it's one of those things where like the longer you stay somewhere, the more you get through everything you want. Like I remember there was a period when I went to Paris a lot, and I stayed at this one hotel all the time in the 7th. And across the street from my hotel was this little tiny like bistro, Korean bistro, right? Like Korean. And I was like, Korean in Paris? Like, hell no, I'm not going to eat there, right? I'm going to eat Blanquette de Veau. I'm going to go everywhere that I possibly can. So over several trips, I went all these places, ate all this French food every time, and I was like, I cannot go and have, no matter how interested I am in the Korean joint, I cannot go eat Korean in Paris. But finally, on one of the trips, I finally exhausted everything that I wanted to try. I ate everywhere that I'd want. I'd been to Arpège. I'd been to what's it called? Not Jacques Pepin. I was at Pierre Gagnère. I went to like all these places. Ate all these places. Basque food. You know, anyway, whatever the case may be. Café Constant. Anyway. So I was like, well, now that I've eaten pretty much everything that I wanted to eat, I'm so curious. For like 2 years, I have been super curious about this restaurant. I was like, I'm going to go. And I got to say, maybe because we're in Paris, because maybe the French are really into high quality food, but it was some of the very best Korean bibimbap I've ever had. Dosuk bibimbap. But everything was super fresh. Like the vegetables were like fresher than fresh. You're like, oh, everything was fresh and vibrant and tasty. I was like, man, that's good. So nice. So nice. All right, let's have a look here. We're biting into this. We're going to bite. Is that even cooked? That looked kind of doughy. Maybe even a little bit undercooked. Just that one thin layer. Well, that you would never notice otherwise. So let's bite. Oh, it's not lemon. It's just yellow. Okay, let's try this, whatever this locket is. Locket. Maybe it's a locket. Yeah, it's like a crunchy sugar cookie. Well, crunchy sugar candy. Oh, man. Oh, that little lock thing is supposed to be top of the ball type ornament you typically... okay. The donut's not hanging up. Thanks. Appreciate that. Then he says, and I have to sample the quality of the rice quality made from that cooker, and it's better. But I gotta say, Panasonic's a Japanese company. I don't think that they would release as a $500 rice cooker. I don't think they'd release rubbish, right? Like, even the way the Korean market, and then I see the Cuckoo brand, and I'm kind of like, Cuckoo? Would I want to buy a Cuckoo rice cooker? But it's Korean, I never heard about it before, but I figured, you know what? I would probably buy one because you know what? Koreans and Japanese and Asian people, they eat rice every day. They're not going to make something that doesn't work, right? They're going to make something that's going to be awesome. Now, if there was a rice cooker said Festool made by Germans, I'd be like, I don't know about that now, Captain. All right. Let's move on to see. Now we're going to go to there's what am I doing here? Let me pull this over here. There's a Santa's belly, and I'm going to get the mucked up belly. Here's Santa's belly, right? Belly of Santa, so belly. Brian's with us. What's going on, Brian? YouTube made me watch 3 ads. Oh man, that sucks. I am sorry to hear that. That is. I will tell you. Gosh, the YouTube app is horrible. Says I'm getting ad block for the PCs. Where to get an ad blocker. I'll admit to you guys, I have ad blockers on this account, right? Like, and it's something that I wish I could tell you what ad blocker I'm using and recommend it, but I can't because I don't even know what ad blocker I have. I don't remember putting it on there. Like, I remember I put it on there, but I mean, I put it on my account years before I ever started doing YouTube videos. So I started really, starting to make YouTube videos at the end of 2019. I had ad blockers I must have put in like maybe 2012 or something like that. So I have no idea. Whenever they started doing ads, that's when I got the ad blocker. And whatever ad blocker I put on there, it must be really amazing because there's been a couple times over the last few years where YouTube has caught up and suddenly I start seeing ads and I was like, oh man, well, I had a good run. I'm just going to have to suck it up now. And then a few days later, ads are gone because whoever made that ad blocker has kept up. So yeah, I would say, and even the guys that I think are really, all about YouTubing, a lot of them, even like Louis Rossman he's a good example. Even he's like, yeah, we make our living through this ad stuff, but it's too much. And it's too much, right? Like, if it's like, let's say like broadcast television used to be 22 minutes. Was it 22? It used to be 20. I think broadcast television, half an hour series was 24-minute runtime. I think at one time it was 27. Maybe when I was young, it was 27. If you watch some of these old shows, it'll tell you. But like, as time has gone by, it was down to the run times were 22 minutes for half an hour shows, 8 minutes of video of ads. And so if you're talking like 30-second ads on like a video that lasts 10 minutes or less, man, that's ridiculous. That's crazy. And Paige says, YouTube is premium worthy if you got one. And YouTube premium is the more legit way to go. I have to say that, and YouTube premium, if you subscribe to YouTube premium and you watch like anyone, even though you're not, so how it works for creators is that creators, when they show the ads, the creator gets a small portion of revenue from you watching that ad. And, you make the more views and more watch time that your video has, the more money you can make out of that. Now, the money that I make is very, very small. Like in 5 years of doing YouTube, I think the aggregate total of revenue that's been generated so far to date, since 2002, when the channel was eligible to be monetized, or was it 2003? 2002. It's like maybe at $1,200. So I have yet to come to the point of being able to give up my life of crime from this. But, and then now, and recently, so I've been talking to some other YouTubers, right? One of them called me yesterday. It's like, revenue is down. I was like, what? And for me, the revenue is so small that I no longer even worry about it, because I'm like, well, revenue could be smaller in 2025, but I don't know the difference because my revenue is always small. But these guys are like larger creators, hundreds of thousands of subscribers. And like, he was like, yeah, man, it's down almost 50%. And then another guy called me and was like, did you hear about Prometheus? And I was like, no, because I don't really watch Prometheus. I know of him. I just don't know him. And Prometheus evidently was like, he just gave up. He's like, I'm done. I haven't seen the video. I should go look it up. But he was like, I'm done. Because I don't know if this buddy of mine talked to him or if he was like just saw a video, but like evidently even Prometheus's revenue has dropped, which makes sense. Economy is rough, and advertisers are pulling back. Festool themselves, they fired their entire marketing department in October. So companies are feeling the impact of the economy and of this nation's economy. So they're pulling back on advertising, which impacts these creators. And those guys like Prometheus, I think, makes his living. And my other buddies make their living off of YouTube, like the revenue from their YouTube channels. So it's a much more acute thing for them. But what all that really is to say is that, if you do decide to buy YouTube Premium, then when you watch the videos, a little bit of, there's also some revenue that's generated for the creator. And, if you want, that's a great way to support, I think it's an easier way to like support creators whose work you enjoy, because, they still make a little bit of money from you watching their videos without you don't have to go out and buy their Patreon or like spend money or in other ways. Naomi says, isn't Snoopy supposed to be cookies and cream? Oh, it could be. Oh, Snoopy. We'll do Snoopy in a moment. But yes, I guess. I don't know. We're gonna get. I didn't really read anything about it. I just kind of like saw it. I was like, I'm gonna go buy it, and then I didn't want to read it because I wanted to like kind of have this moment of discovery with you. So they're just kind of like, oh. Kerry says there is a great filled donut here that has young coconut in it. Oh, that sounds good. Paige says, I don't use a PC to watch. I use my phone, tablet, or TV to watch YouTube. So ad blockers, I beg to disagree. Like, I will watch a lot on my phone. No ads. Because the ad blocker works. And I don't, like I said, I'm sorry. I wish I could tell you what I'll try to find out, but I wish I could tell you what I actually have been using. But I have no idea. And I don't know if other ad blockers, modern ad blockers are are device based, like if it only works in a PC or only works. But like the one that I have, like if I was watching on the television, it works as well. Through my account, it works as well. It's like, wow. Like I really like if I'm watching on one of the other accounts, like if I'm like on the Onotext channel account and I need to see a video while I'm preparing something for that, ads start popping up. I switch back to this account to like get rid of it. I'm really kind of a baby in that respect. Europe is still very accepting of Pan-Asian fusion. It says power plant. In America, that was popular for a minute, but now it's mostly shunned. Oh, I haven't noticed. Maybe it's just the restaurants that I go to. Paige says, I wouldn't say it's shunned. It's just not many places out here doing it justice. I think that would probably be a little more accurate. But I also think it depends where you are in America. I will admit it to the West Coast. It is shunned. Yeah, West Coasters are probably like, West Coasters are probably more exposed to maybe authentic food. So it's like, okay, well, you're putting cumin in that and calling it Xi'an, but just because it has Xi'an doesn't mean, just because it has cumin doesn't mean that it's Xi'an. So, yeah, maybe that could be. That could be. That could be. Brian says, flavor fatigue. Recently, I'm putting more thought into how I eat, trying to take a bite of savory while consuming something sweet. Oh, that's a good idea. Even though it's a poor example, it's a good idea. It's not a poor example, but it's. I do think that there's a point where I tend to be I tend to be thoughtful about eating, meaning that I think about things as I'm eating, but I don't think about it all the time, right? Because then it just becomes too obsessive. So sometimes you just want to eat stuff that you like, maybe mindlessly, so you don't have to think about it. So you just want to enjoy. Okay, so I sliced into this one. This is Santa's belly, and Santa has cream for the belly. Oh, there's the buckle. We're going to put that aside. We're going to eat the part that's all hemajang. Look at this thing. I want to have a little bit of the chocolate. Should wipe off your knife, everybody. All right, so here it is. So you can see here, we talked about this before. This is a good illustration of this. When you're talking about these type of cream filled, they never fill perfectly even because of the method they're using. And you can see here's the hole that they crashed into like a bulldozer. But there's a tube, like a big syringe, and you shove it into the donut, and then it fills it, and then it fills it like this. And so that's basically how you make a filled donut of any type. So let's have a bite. I was going to say that maybe it'd be better if it was marshmallow, but it might actually be marshmallow. Naomi, did it say on the website if this is actually marshmallow? It's pretty good. See, here's the problem. It's cool enough in here that, and the volume that I put in here was really small, but it's pretty cool now, so that's not very enjoyable. Powerplant says, exactly. It is also why fine dining food is often so small in portion. That's a good point. And Brian says, it just made me watch two more ads, really? Oh, see, that's too much. I can see one or two ads for half an hour, but so you've watched 5 ads already, and we've only been running 48 minutes. And you probably haven't watched the entirety of the stream, so that is too much. I agree. Okay, now let's go to Snoopy. We're gonna have to look for the ugly Snoopy. Which is the ugly one of these two? I think this one has more definition, right? But it looks all kind of maybe that looks more like Snoopy. Kieran says they're trying to do fusion Thai food here. It's kind of popular with tourists, but there's so much good food here that the local places still do great business. So, I mean, I think in the Philippines, in Manila, I was talking to some friends of mine, right? And I think that here in the United States, we've got a lot of nouveau Filipino restaurants, and I've been to a few of them. I think uniformly I've been a bit disappointed in all of them. And I think that, the problem is that, I'm probably one of the worst people to go eat at Filipino Nouvelle cuisine restaurants because it's the cuisine is part of my upbringing. So it's I have a very certain way of liking it. So I'm probably the wrong person to try these foods. But conversely, if I go to these Nouvelle cuisine, Filipino places in Manila, I have a much better reaction to them. It's much more oh, that's delicious. It's super guttural. It's oh, that's one of the great fusion ones that I can think of is a place called Locavor in Manila. They have since the first time I went there, they have since opened multiple locations. But I've tried a couple of different locations and the food has always been consistent. But they have this thing called Well, we have this dish in the Philippines called kare kare, and basically it is beef oxtails, of course, they're beef oxtails, stewed, or not, yeah, stewed, boiled, whatever, braised, and then mixed with like peanut sauce. Here in America, we use peanut butter, achiote, and like some other stuff and vegetables, and then you eat it with this shrimp paste. It's it's my favorite dish. Like I will tear that up. But I went to this place local for years ago, maybe like 10, 15 years ago, 10 years ago. And I remember we sat down with my friend Hanky and like they had this thing called kare kare wings. So crispy fried chicken wings, as we would expect in America, crispy fried wings with kare kare sauce that had the seasoning of the fish paste, the shrimp paste, what we call bagoong. Oh my God, man! Like I was like, it's like it's one of the greatest things I've ever had. So I'm like, every time I go there, I tear into it. And so these places will do like these type of fusiony foods. And there's another place called Manam that does kind of like this one of their popular dishes. We have this thing called pancit bihon. They make a version of it with like squid ink, and you're like, it's kind of like gimmicky, but man, it's so good. There's something about the chefs or the creations that they're doing there. Maybe because they grew up in the culture, they understand it better than the Filipino American chefs here that are interpreting the food. I'm like, there's just too much here. It's like there's too much artifice in the dishes, and I'm like I remember, like I was at this one place called Hiraya in DC. Filipino American chef, Filipino American like me, grew up here in America and all that, right? One of his good friends is a guy named Piche Ong. Piche is a chef, a pastry chef from New York City. I've been to his restaurant, Pong, in New York many years ago. Great, like amazing dessert chef. And so in the dessert case, they had this thing called ensaimada. And the ensaimada, the truffle ensaimada. So like, truffle ensaimada, so super fancy, right? Super fancy. $13 for this ensaimada. Little teeny tiny ensaimada. $13. I was like, well, I think the price is ridiculous. It's $13. Of course it's $13 because it's truffle. But I got to try it, right? I got to try it. So I ordered that. I ordered another dessert. I ordered like 3 coffee drinks. $75. $75, son of God. Sat down with it. Now, if this ensaimada had been stellar, like it would be, okay, that was worth it. And ensaimada is supposed to be moist. Dry. No real flavor. Just dry. I was like, what the? Like, come on. I was so disappointed. So disappointed. All right, let's go on to Snoopy because we're supposed to be eating Snoopy now. Powerplant says, anyone watching Coloring Class Wars on Netflix? Oh, I've not seen that. Santa Belly Filling says cream. I kind of think I wish they would put like, I think it'd be kind of fun with marshmallow, like the really spongy, springy, the springy marshmallow. Like so, you got to chew, and you got that kind of like that texture plus that stickiness. So it'd be like getting all over your lips, and you're like, oh man, I'm all big now. That would be, to me, that would be Santa Belly, right? That would be like, I don't know. Powerplant says it really is fun, meaning the Culinary Class Wars. They have chefs from high to low cooking, aunties and granny cooking home styles, aunties and granny cooking home style to French hot cuisine. Nice. Some of the hottest reservations in New York City are now the modern Korean places. Cote Steakhouse is one of the 2 Michelin-starred steak. But how do you respond to them? Right? Like that's like, Korean food is part of your heritage, right? So it's like when you go to if you ever go to these places that are like these new versions of your cuisine, do you find yourself like responding well to them? I found myself responding mixed. I think you really have to know, like, I don't know. I don't even know if you have to know the cuisine. I don't know. Russell's with us. What's going on, Russell? How are you? Peruvian food has been gaining popularity. Oh, yeah. Oh, nice. What is it? Salchicha? and fries. No, that's Ecuadorian. Even Fresno has several Peruvian restaurants. Peruvian food is by nature Asian fusion. Oh, right, because of the Japanese connection. The only Peruvian that I've really seen here in Baltimore, at least close to where I live, is just the rotisserie chicken. Like my brother used to bring the rotisserie chicken from this one like Peruvian joint, and he'd be like, "Oh, we bought this Peruvian." I'm like, "Okay." It was okay. Like, it was okay. He'd bring it to the house, and it was okay. And I never complained because, he's bringing me food. I'm happy. But it was never, like, awesome. And then one day, Matt and I were driving around. And he was like, "Hey, man, let's go to this Peruvian joint." And I was like, well, like, it's like, it's all right. So we went there. I was like, all right. He wanted. I was like, all right, let's go, man. I'm game for anything. And we ordered the chicken there. Ate the chicken there. Like, it's fresh out of the oven. Man, it was great. Like, it was great. Like, I was like, oh, this is amazing. And I realized that, in the time that my brother would, like, take the hour to get it to me, to the house, it would cool down. And by the time it cools down, it kind of like, it just loses its, like. So I'm revisiting my Peruvian. Okay, which one? I think we should go for I think this is the uglier one. Right, this is the uglier one. Between the two, like, that's a pretty. I'll give that to my mom. I think she will like it. Oh. So this one, you said, it says cookies and cream. Again, more filled. So I guess we'll cut off Snoopy's nose. Sorry, Snoopy. I did wipe it off, kind of. There it is. Paige says, don't hate improving chicken. It's so good. And I think that's, I don't mean to hate on it. I do like Peruvian chicken overall, but just that what I really mean is that the Peruvian place that I went to that my brother would buy from, by the time he brought it to the house here and we would have it, it would diminish. The flavor was diminished. Like it just wasn't, it was good, but it wasn't like, I'm going to drive to go get it. Like I'm not, like I wasn't, had it not been for Matt being like, oh yeah, let's go, man. Come on, let's give it a try again. So, all right, fine. I never would have gone there. Like I would never have gone there to buy chicken. Like I'd be like, well, it's okay, right? But now if I'm in that area where it is, I will go buy it there. And I have several times since that day, because I realized, that Peruvian chicken is really great. It just doesn't travel as well. Okay, so what we need is more coffee because that coffee got cold, but luckily I kept it in the Zojirushi. Let's see how. Awesome! This is awesome. This is awesome. You should buy one. And I don't have I don't have any like affiliate links, but you should buy one. Zojirushi Tough Slim. It's good. It's okay. I don't get the cookies and cream. Is there a connection between Snoopy and cookies and cream somewhere in the Peanuts lore? All right. Well, I don't know. Yeah, the coffee. So now that it's hot again, like I think the coffee. All right. Wait, before we get to the coffee, the Snoopy's okay. Like I don't. I think it's super sweet. Like this filling is sweet and the glaze is everything's. Maybe because I've already eaten like the equivalent of 4 or 5 donuts already, so maybe my sugar levels are high and I'm going to pass out soon. That could be a possibility. Paige says DC Rico in Capitol Hill is so good. Oh, next time I get there. I never get to DC though. I never. I feel like DC is so far away and it's so much more of a difficulty to get into. It's like, oh, I want to go to DC. Like, I don't want to go there anymore. Like, I'll go to Bethesda, Rockville. I'll even go down to like Arlington and like, down like, Falls Church and all that. But man, to go into DC, like city, is like, Peruvian food is king of potatoes. Ooh, I like potatoes. And Kieran says there are quite a few Peruvian people that have Polynesian DNA because of the Spanish blackbirding in Tokelau that transported men there as slaves. Oh, I didn't realize that. Well, those Spanish, man. They're enslaving everybody at one point. Paige says, I love maduros at Peruvian restaurants. What are maduros? Is that the, when I think of maduros, I think either of cigars or bananas or plantains. Power Plant says, the modern Korean stuff is awesome, and it is a great representation of the modernization, internationalizing. I think conceptually, like the idea of like Filipino modern cuisine is conceptually awesome. But the individual execution can be quite varied, right? And that's what I was kind of curious. Like, have you been to places that you didn't vibe with, or have you personally vibed with these new interpretations of Korean cuisine? Naomi says, I've learned to never say I hate a certain food because I've been proven wrong each time. Oh, absolutely. I agree with you on that. Anton says, shouldn't there be peanuts inside? That's probably too dangerous here in America with our peanut allergies now. So Naomi wants to know which donut was the best? It's not fair for me to say this because, traditionally I am not a filled donut guy. Like every once in a while, I may go have a Boston cream pie donut, which is basically yeasted fried dough donut that has an injection of like the pastry cream or like the Boston cream with chocolate frosting, like an eclair. Like that's pretty much the only filling that I really like. And like if I'm at a party and they've got donuts and I want to have a donut and they have jelly donuts and that's all they have left, I'll eat the jelly donut because you know what? A jelly donut is better than no donut. But I'm not historically much of a filled donut person. Like I tend to be a regular glazed, chocolate frosted. What else do I like? I like blueberry cake. I like sometimes if you give me a bag of Hostess donuts, little teeny tiny donuts that are powdered sugar frost covered, I will tear that bag up. I will tear it up. I can't. I will. We will have to do a video about that. But anyway, so those are the donuts that and then the French crullers, right? The ones that use the pâte choux dough. Those are the donuts that I tend to like. That I will order on the regular. So when you ask me which do I think is the best of these, for me personally, I go back to this. I like the basics, right? I like it to be plain and simple. I don't necessarily need all of this on it. They're all good, right? It's just that, and that's why I wanted to qualify what I'm telling you with what I normally like, because what I typically like is informing my answer to the question that you've asked, right? So there's something to me that I like about the classic. I would eat this one. I would eat the other one. And to be honest, I bought 2 extras that I ate on the way back home from Krispy Kreme. No, it says, hurry up and eat a plate of broccoli to even out the sugar. I like that. Paige says, yeah, the DC is annoying to deal with. I took advantage of when the boyfriend went to a conference in Capital. Oh, that's good. That's a good idea. It's one of those things where if I'm in the city itself and I'm staying there, I kind of like being in the place. Like that's true of a lot of cities. But getting there, like it's New York City. Like I love to wake up in Manhattan and walk outside and go get a bagel and a coffee. I wouldn't like it so much if I had to commute into Manhattan, but staying in Manhattan, you walk out. I'm already in New York. But I don't want to go there. Like the idea of getting to New York City, like whether I had to take the train, take the bus, drive, then park, pay the tolls, buy the gas. Oh God, no. Like my friends are always like, "Hey man, when are you gonna come up and hang out with us?" I'm like, I don't know. Someday soon. I've been saying that for like 2 years. I used to go to this event in New York City called the International Chefs Congress. But Antoinette, the one that organized it, she stopped doing it because of the pandemic and never resumed. And I'm always like, come on, Antoinette, you need to redo it. That was the only event that would get me to come to New York City. Like they'll have the NAB show there. They'll have other shows that I might be interested in. And I'll register for. Like I'll register every year for NAB New York in October. And when it comes right down to going, I'm like, oh, I don't feel like going there. And there was a time when I used to go to New York all the time. But now it's like, oh, God, no. God, no. Paige says, Maduros equals plantains. Yes, okay, good. I just want to make sure I got that right, that I understood exactly what you're saying. It also says, I've only had Peruvian chicken once, and it was okay. Usually I order lomo saltado or ceviche. Lomo saltado can be really great. And the ceviche. Yeah, that's why that Peruvian place here in Timonium, Maryland, they've got nice ceviche. But, I think that, and like I said, this place, I forgot the name of it offhand. Pollo Rico, maybe it's called. When I had it, and it was, cooler, older, my brother would pick it up and bring it over to the house, and we would all get together and eat. It wasn't great. Like, it was just kind of like, it's cool. It's good. It's good. It's not terrible. It's good. But I'm certainly not going to drive to go get it. Like, it's not good enough for that. But when I finally went to the restaurant and had it, oh, yeah, it's good enough to drive. Like, I was like, oh, this is good. Like, I don't know. Could I get some more, please? Please? What I mean by that is that while I do understand that you've had experiences with the Peruvian chicken that have been like, meh, I do think we encourage you to try other places and maybe get it fresh when they're from the restaurant itself, because that seems to make a difference. Ken says there's something about the powdered Hostess donuts that is something so good. I think they put a little bit of lemon flavor in it. Like, I don't buy it because, man, I really will sit there and tear it up. And I will tear it up with coffee. I will tear it up with milk. Man, I used to tear it up with Coca-Cola. I was like, Coca-Cola. It's terrible. Now I do with Diet Coke because you got to cut down somewhere, right? I'm no longer 22, 25, can like do that kind of craziness. Now he says, when we try a new donut place, we tend to order glazed, chocolate frosted, and blueberry cake. This is how we get. I agree. I totally agree. For me, the blueberry, I love blueberry cake for some reason. I just love it. And I don't even care if it's artificial. I just love the whole blueberry cake experience for some reason. Actually, that's what I should do. Next time we make muffins, I should try to take some of that muffin batter and just like deep fry it. How are the donuts in Bama? Pepperland says if they can't nail down the basics, they're not going to get the more complicated ones right. That's why I tend to go over like basic coffee at coffee shops, because like it tells me how they're going to be. This one, a little bit rough. Karen says, I remember there's a Peruvian place in DC that was really popular in the early 2000s. It was a takeout place. I was trying to uncensor it. And then Proplan says Zanko chicken is where it's at. I think there's a Zanko chicken in DC. At least the name sounds familiar. But I'm not sure about the one that you're talking about, Keone, the one that I did it when I back in the 2000s up to 2007. When we went to DC to eat, it was typically to a place called Le Hull because they had a DC outpost, and if you sat in the bar area, you could smoke cigars. So we would smoke cigars sometimes once a week and make the hour plus drive and have like I would typically get like sometimes you get escargot, but a lot of times it would be like the steak tartare and then the steak frites, the onglet frites. Oh my God. So they do onglet echalot, which is like onglet, hanger steak, and shallot sauce with fries and a salad. Mama mia. And if you sat at the bar, you could smoke a cigar. So we would sit there, cigar, steak, and just, God, it was when America was brilliant. That's when America was great. Ah, God, good times, good times, good times. Anton says, Naomi, I thought you had trouble eating that kind of stuff. By the way, have you made progress with that? Like better recipes? And she'll take a bite. You know, you can try to. Like my friend was like, one of my good friends, he's also like kind of like lactose intolerant, you know. Like I had some like the apple cider donuts from yesterday's show. I brought them with me. And he was like, maybe I'll just try a bite. Yeah, man, have as much as you want. He was like, I'll just have a small piece. You know, maybe a little bit discomfort is worth it. All right. Well, I guess that's that. We've tried them all. And I go back. I'm a simpleton. I'm a simple guy. You know, go back to the standard donuts. Oh, we should zoom out just a little bit. Oops, not that way. So here it is, the Peanuts Krispy Kreme, right? Krispy Kreme donuts with the Peanuts Christmas collection. I'm disappointed that they did not include the holiday wreath one, right? Like, where's the holiday wreath picture? Right? Like this is what they said I was going to have. The holiday wreath. Look, see, the holiday wreath has Snoopy on it. Right? Oh, like sleeping on the ribbon like he does on his doghouse. So that's, you know, I am disappointed because it offers a little more colorful flair to it. Like, does it taste any different? Probably not. Like, it's just all the same. But, you know, if you have the time and you still would like to try you can order these online and pick it up at the store, which is kind of nice. I don't recall how much are these. These are, and I totally don't remember how much they were. They weren't terribly expensive, probably similar to whatever it costs. But yeah, anyway, that's pretty much it. Back again tomorrow with more coffee Q&A. We're going to be moving, as we're getting closer to Christmas, we're going to have more Christmassy stuff. Tomorrow, we're going to be looking at sugar cookies for Christmas. And then on Christmas Day, Christmas Day, we're going to do also more Christmassy stuff. So if you're not busy on Christmas, you probably are busy, probably with family, like, you know, unlike me, not with family. So Kenny says, Mahalo, enjoyed you watching the you know, I sacrifice for your benefit. That's what it's all about, right? That's what it's all about. Naomi says, we stumbled upon a donut shop near me out in the sticks. I was forced to order cinnamon roll because somebody ordered 3 boxes right before me and bought them out. Oh, turn up your bonus. Okay, that's good. And Russell says, I have not been to Zonko. What? You haven't been to Zonko? What? Gonna go get eel this weekend. Love you. Oh, nice. Enjoy it. Naomi says, cinnamon roll was not a traditional one, more donut-like, but probably the best they offer. Ooh, that sounds good. Powerplant says, best chicken in LA, the Zanku is Palestinian style. Get some next time I go. I remember that. I've seen it, and I do remember seeing, there was one like in West LA, I think it was. Or maybe close to the 5 freeway. I remember seeing it somewhere. Somewhere that I was eating, I was like, there's a Zanku chicken. What is that all about? It's late here, 11:14 at night. Daylight savings time. Well, all right. Have a good night. And thank you all for joining me. Back again tomorrow. Hope you have a great one. And see you next time. Au revoir, Kent.